Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. I trust you're all good. I'm still not looking at you yet because I'm trying to lower this music. I always do this every time. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the live show. Our live Q&A show for the month of June. And I can see people dropping in already. Welcome. Welcome. I trust that you are, going about your business as you ought to. That's all we can do is soldier on, okay? I trust you and family are well. It's always important that we, in the season that we're in, we remain focused on all that's important. And our kids are so important to us. And so I'm pleased that we have this opportunity to engage yet again about security around our kids. And I don't think it's, you have a pause. You pause life because of what life itself throws at you. No, you carry on. You carry on not just for you, but you carry on for the sake of those connected to you. And so it gives me so much joy that I'm able to still do this and do it enthusiastically, because the end game is that our kids are secure and that we're inputting into their lives. But we do that by helping you as a parent, a guardian, to skill up, get your act together so that you can give your young one, advice virtuously, okay? And so welcome again. Like you have seen in what I call the flyer, we're going to be discussing what you generally see on the screen there, how to keep our text messages, particularly on the iPhone, private, or if you like, secure. And I know that it is probably something that we don't think about. I remember many years ago, when we were all doing these private things or trying to be as private as possible on, old technology, they used to sell these screens that will make anyone looking at your screen from afar see it in a funny way. Basically, you could only see the screen if you came very close, but people who are looking over your shoulders will not generally see what you are showing on your screen. And that was security in our day. And you may be surprised that this is not so old a technology. I'm certain, so especially in the finance departments of our world, they still have this technology where they make sure that you can't see the contents of a screen from afar, if you're coming in from angles, unless you're behind. That gives the person who is clicking away some security that people can't, if you like, eavesdrop on what's on the screen. And that's security. So this is similar on iPhones. And again, I'm speaking mostly about iPhones, as you can see from the text, or rather the flyer. We're going to be speaking how you stay private, stay secure whilst viewing or sending text messages on your iPhone. And we're going to concentrate on iOS 13 and above. So if when we're doing the how-to or how-tos, you find that it's not quite the same on your phone, that's because we're only concentrating on phones that have iOS 13 and above, okay? There are other ways to do this on versions that are lower. If that is your experience, then I will urge you to please put it in the comments, and I'll create something quite quick for you that should help you do the same thing, okay? So we're going to focus on that. And there's some things that are really OTT, but I don't have, I'm not here to sweeten you up. I'm here to give you advice that will help you in the long run if this topic is of interest to you. And no doubt, I believe it should be. I know some of you have Android phones or Google phones, whatever it is they call it these days. You also have an opportunity to put it in the comments to address how you do it on your Google phone or your Android phone. I have experience in that area too. If I get enough comments or questions about it, then I'll create a video for Android phone users. Simple as that. But iPhone is what I use day to day, and I'm able to give you exactly that. Esther, welcome. God bless you. Welcome. And yes, she's asking, how do you do this on Android? I can tell you that most of what I'm telling you, even though it's on the iPhone, in general sense, the best practice bits are similar. It's just that I would create a video that will tackle that. So don't go away because I'm talking about iPhones. I'll still be touching on some general best practice items that should favor you. Again, Esther, welcome. Welcome, Zachary. Welcome, Nora. And welcome, Moi. So anyone who has a question, don't forget it's a live Q&A. I did say that we'll answer questions about the item, which is about SMS or text messages on iPhone. So we'll look at that. But unrelated questions, any question that you have related to anything else, we're here for an hour. I'm counting. We have 54 more minutes. No, 54 more minutes. So we can still tackle those questions that you may have, but feel free to sit down and relax, okay? All right. So I've said that our focus for the first few minutes, maybe 10 minutes max, will be on SMS/text message is privacy, okay? Privacy around text messages on the iPhone, iOS 13 and above. And the first thing that the clinic is going to recommend you do, on your iPhone to keep your SMS messages or text messages private and secure is to do what we are terming, and I'm just going to go there so you can see it. What we're simply terming turn off message previews, as you can see on the screen. Turn off message previews. And I'm going to show you how to do this on the iPhone. As I said, it's going to be a mixture of a tutorial and just giving you facts. So I'm going to go to my iPhone. I have two because I'm going to demonstrate a lot of things. So I'll go to my iPhone, which is not recognizing me now. Why? Okay. Let me go there first. Where are we? iPhone. Okay, so I'll go to the phone, which is phone 1. Okay, so that's me. That's the phone. To turn off, this is where we are. For those of you who are just arriving, we're turning off message previews, which is a way that we are able to secure our phones or to make our messages, the SMS messages, secure and private. And so we're going to a phone so we can demo it, okay? Again, for those, because I just saw someone drop in, just in case you don't know where or what we're doing. So on your iPhone, you go to, and this is just to turn off message previews. And I'll explain what message preview, actually, maybe I should do that. Message previews basically is, and I'm sure many of you see this, you can have your phone away from you and a text message comes in. If you have message previews turned on, that message that comes in will display even though your phone is locked. So your phone is locked. Ideally, things should be cryptic or at least hidden. But if you've enabled turn on message previews, your message can be read even when your phone is unattended. And that's a security risk. That's definitely not what the clinic will recommend. You must keep your messages private. And you do that when your phone is locked, everything remains locked and nothing can be seen. And so the clinic is advising that you turn off message previews. And you do that by going to your iPhone and in the settings app or applet, you click on it. And in there, you have notifications. As you can see, I'm scrolling up to it. You go to notifications and then scroll down and look for messages. And as you can see, I'm going to messages and you can see messages there. Now there is an item. You have two ways of doing this. I'll show you the second one, which is the message previews turn off. If you click on where the very first item there, which is allow notifications, if you switch that off, you will not be notified of anything that comes into your phone. Nothing, locked or unlocked, nothing, you will not receive notification. But really down to the point, which is the second one, if you want to turn off message previews, if you scroll down under options, the category options, you have show previews. If you click on that, I'm sorry about that, go away. You click on previews, you have 3 options. You have always, you have when unlocked, and you have never. If you want to, like we're recommending that you turn off message previews, you click on never. And you see the tick now is on never. You go back and you have prevented messages from flagging up and being, like open, even though you're not on your phone or your phone is locked. It will just show the text if you don't turn it off. Now that we've turned it off, when a text comes in, it will just show that a text has come in. Perhaps it would even show who the number is, who the text has come from, but nothing more. It won't give you the text message contents. That's what we're trying to avoid, okay? And so that's how you turn off message previews, okay? And that's crucially important that we do that. Again, we can turn off notifications altogether, and this problem goes away very quickly, okay? But specifically, if you want to turn off messages or message previews, you do exactly what I just told you there, okay? So we do have a second, something that many will not know, but I'll show you anyway. And that is, let's go back and see if I can go there. No, that's not what I want. That's not what I want either. So I'll turn this one off. Lock down your screen. Lock down your screen. What does that mean? A second point is to lock down your screen or lock your phone. Many of us don't know that we can do this. And if you're one of those, I really wonder where you've been. You must lock your phone. I know that there are many people who, when they're not with their phones, they just keep their phones on the table. And if you touch it, you can go in. And that's so risky. Please, that's so risky. And because we're leading by example, if our kids, our young ones, see that we're doing that, then they will adapt accordingly. So we must enforce that we, as a family, lock our phones. Lock our phones. And you do that, again, I'm going to go to, I'm going to go to phone 1. And I'm just going to show us how to do that. So again, let me see if I can go back to settings. So as you can see, I'm in settings. We go to settings and under, I believe it's Face ID and passcode. You click on it. And of course, I've coded mine, so I'll put a code there. And if you have the trendy phones, you can do this either using Face ID or you just simply have a lock. Okay? But it's the options only turn up when you have enabled locking your phone. So you must lock your phone when it is not in use. And you do that by going to Face ID and passcodes. Okay? That's a pretty easy one. I just saw do not disturb. It's not on my agenda to discuss, but do not disturb can also prevent messages turning up unsolicited when they come in. So if you don't want that to happen, you can quickly just do not disturb, and all those messages that have been coming on that you've seen on the screen will not come on. That's another way to prevent messages turning up. That was a bonus tip because it wasn't part of what I was going to discuss. But you can see that that can be helpful, okay? So we go back to our screen. So locking down your screen, you must have a passcode. You must enable Touch ID or Face ID depending on the phone that you have, but it must be enabled. There's nobody that can tell me that it makes sense not to lock your phone. Locking your phone prevents anyone just picking up a phone and doing stuff, okay? And we are big on making sure that we're not giving rogues an open goal. We must make sure that we're tightening access to our devices, by at the least enabling a password or a passcode or some sort of PIN. But it's important that we lock our phone. Of course, if we lock our phone, people can't get to our text messages. You see? So it's linked. And that's why it's an item there for us to do. All right? I do have another thing that we have to enable, and that would be turn off read receipts. Now, this may not necessarily be linked per se, but we're talking about privacy. We're talking about, keeping your stuff private. You just don't want to share everything with everybody. We are able to make sure that when we respond to a text or send a text, the text that we receive, if you don't want people to know that you've read it, it's quite embarrassing that at times, because you have your phone, you could actually click on a message without reading it because you're scrolling through and you've not really paid attention to the contents of that text message. But if you do not have your read receipts turned off, what will happen is, even though you haven't read the text message, the sender will receive a message that you've read it. And that's if you've enabled or turned on read receipts. At times, you don't want that to be communicated to the sender of the mail because you are probably parking the text message to look at it later. So to make sure your business is not all out there, as in, oh, he reads my text messages and he's not responding. It's been 2 days now. Meanwhile, deep down, you are planning to respond when you read it thoroughly. So to keep things in sync and, somewhat sweet, you can turn off read receipts. And you do that simply by going to, again, we're in settings. So I'll go to iPhone 1. If you go to settings, and actually this time, just scroll down to messages. So you don't go into any other, just scroll down once you click settings. Go to messages, and you have in the list there, you have send read receipts. I have mine disabled. So you will not receive a text message or an alert that Lawrence has read your message. And as I said, I know people use this inappropriately, but you can see a genuine use for this setting. I don't want to send read receipts because I've not really paid attention to the message. I've just scrolled through. If I scroll through, you will get a text message saying I've read it, or an alert saying I've read it when I haven't actually read it. So to prevent that and keep all your private business private, you disable, turn off read receipts, as you can see there. Okay? Again, we're talking about SMS and text message privacy and security. So it's important that you find that these are all tied in. Please, in case you are just coming in, and I can see some of you are still coming in, please make sure you put a Q before your question, because as I mentioned, this is a live Q&A. Once we finish this, we're going to go back to normal unrelated questions, okay? I see there's a question there. You don't have to put a Q on yours. I've seen it. But every other question that comes in, please put a Q in front so that I can distinguish it, okay? Maybe it's not a question. He's just shouting out, hey, good to see you. Okay, let's see. So that's that, okay? So turn off read receipts will help in the overall effort to keep SMS, text messages and so private, okay? So the next item on that list, and we're almost done, so don't despair. The next one on the list would be, and I did say that there's some things that will be OTT. You can turn on automatically delete text. Turn on automatically delete text. And I can hear some of you ask, why would I ever want to do that? The problem that I'm finding, having spoken to many of us, is that we store text messages and don't do any housekeeping whatsoever. We just store them. Those are the bad ones, the good ones, the ones that people can dig out or dig up dirt if they had access to your phone. We just keep them indefinitely. And we find that when we change phones, it becomes such a nuisance to move those messages to our new phone. A message, if you had a phone call, think of it this way, because many people now use text messages as a phone, okay? They just want to chat, hello, hi, bye. Why would I want to have that stored? And I can tell you that most of the messages that we have, many are important, but most of them are just casual. And those casual messages have no business remaining on the phone indefinitely. And so we need to do some housekeeping. In that same token, I also believe that there's some of us who totally want to be private. Totally. And we can't get off the grid, we can't get off the internet, and we just want to continue to use our phones, but we don't want to be exposed in whatever form to a rogue. You can automatically delete your messages once you've read them and sent them, okay? And you have an option. The fact that it's there would mean that there's some people who need it, okay? And I'm going to show you how to do that, okay? And all you'll be doing is deleting it after a certain period. If you want to delete it forever, you have that option too. If you don't want to touch it, you also have that option. But it's a recommendation based on privacy of SMS and text messages. There's some that this would suit. Many of you, I believe, would not want it, but it's there as an option, so at least make sure you know, okay? So if we go to the phone again, I'll go back to settings. So you go to settings, and in messages, you're scrolling down. So I'm just scrolling up so you can see. If you scroll down to messages, under message history, which you can see there, if I click on keep messages, which I have set forever, and again, I have it set because, not boasting, I am, kind of savvy, okay? So, and I'm not blowing my head on my own trumpet, but I am secure, okay? So I leave it forever because I know how to manage them. But for those who will struggle, you have opportunities to do it for a year, and you have opportunities to do it for 30 days. So basically, if I say 30 days now, which I'm not going to do because I haven't backed up my messages, if I say delete messages that are 30 days old, I would select 30 days. 1 year old, up to 1 year old, basically it will go back from today, 1 year back. Today, 30 days back. And that's how we'll delete it. So if you want to delete messages forever, if you want to delete messages, all your messages, you have an opportunity to do that if you keep doing 1 year, 2 years. Do you understand? So if you choose 1 year now, it will delete, choose it again, and all that. So it will just clean your message repository. And that way, there are no messages left back for rogues to scan or go through if they got hands on your phone. It's just an option. It's not a recommendation, because that will mean that I'm recommending that everybody does it. But if you're really into your privacy, you don't want anybody to have, you just don't want to leave audit trails, then that's an option that you can consider. Turning off, deleting messages automatically after a certain period, okay? So that would explain turning on automatically deleting your text messages. That takes away that burden, okay? Now we're going to go into some more practical, slightly more practical ways of staying private or hiding your messages so that people or rogues don't just get, the guys who shoulder surf, people who look over your shoulders to see what you're doing. There are ways to prevent them from getting to your information. And you can treat this as a bonus tip, if you like. And it is, again, in iMessage on the iPhone. I'm only talking about the iPhone. As I said, enough of you put in comments that we should address the Android phones. I will do a video accordingly. If you don't say it, I will just assume you're happy as things are. Okay, we have one person saying that they want. Esther has just mentioned that. But a bonus tip would be to do this, and that is invisible ink, using invisible ink. I'm sure, looking at the number of people that are attending, I'll be super surprised if iPhone users know of this option. Okay, super surprised. But again, because I quickly want to move on so that we're not boring our Android users, I'll quickly show you how to do it. And this is why I had the two phones. Okay, so on my normal phone, if I were, let's see, what do I do? Okay, so if I were to, let me go to the phone. If I were to go to my phone and I want to send a text message to a contact, and I don't want that message to show up when it gets sent in clear text, iPhone or Apple have introduced an invisible ink option when you're sending text messages via iMessage. So I choose a contact. Let's see, that's just my work phone, and I start typing. So I go to the box for typing. Does that change? Yeah. So if I go to the box, I'm just trying to make it as big as possible. Or is that way? Yeah. So if I type hello, see what it's going to do when can you see the blue arrow? If you press and hold the blue arrow, which will normally be a button that you use to send a text, but press and hold it down, you see options will pop up. As part of that option, you have invisible ink right at the end. So if you click the dot by invisible ink, can you see what it's done to the text message that I said hi? The moment you can't see what is there. If you press that box where the text is, you should be able to see it. Can you? No. But basically I've put hi there, and if I now click on that arrow up button, it will send this text this way to my work phone, and you can see it says delivered. Okay? Now if I go to that phone, let's see. Please do bear with me as I disappear from the screen. So if I go to that phone and I do that, you can see that I can see hello, but see what will happen. Can you see, is this better? Can you see where it says delivered, that it's not showing the hello that I put in there? But if I press, you can't see me pressing. If I press it, it says test. Can you see? So I can read it. I can read the message that was sent. Again, we go back to hello, to that text that was sent today at 12:28. You can't see that, the contents of that. It's hidden by default, which means if someone got hold of it and they don't know about visible ink, they won't know how to read that message. But if I press that little blurry image, it shows test. Okay? That's invisible ink. And I believe that it's a super geeky option for those who are interested in such things. But I thought I'll share that with you and make sure that you are aware that you can do that. So if you don't want people to see by default the messages when they come in, only the recipient will know of invisible ink, of course, and they know what to do to reveal that message. It's just, you know, a trendy, modern way of hiding messages. Those are the 4 that I will share. But don't forget that if you don't want rogues to get access to your the information in your messages, and that indeed will include emails, but that's a different video. But SMS or text messages, you can do these things that I've mentioned, and we'll go through them again. I've mentioned that you do, let's see if we can just run through them backwards. So I've mentioned the invisible ink, turning on automatically deleting your text messages, turn off read receipts, and turn off message reviews. Of course, we won't forget the locking down your screen. Those are options that I believe if you engage and do them, believe me, you'll be happier for it, I hope, because you keep your messages private and secure. Okay. All right. So it is at this point, the half-hour mark, that we transition to your questions, unrelated questions. I still haven't seen any question pop in. Don't know whether you slept on me. Come on. Send in your questions. As I said, unrelated questions. They don't have to be anything related to messages that we've shared so far, or rather the information that we've shared so far. So please bring your questions, type them away. I'm just going to read what I can see so far. Apart from the question about do we have to have on an Android phone, would these settings apply? No, they won't. They're just a different operating system on phone. So as I mentioned, if we get enough bandwidth or enough questions coming in from that end, then we would definitely create a video for our Android users. Okay. Let's see. Esther is asking a question. My husband is quite excited, has learnt a lot, he says. Okay, good stuff. Mikey, good one. Thank you. Okay. Come Come on, you guys can ask unrelated questions. So those who haven't actually, who came for the live Q&A for other reasons, please get your questions in, okay? Get your questions in, or I will start singing. No, I won't. But you get the idea. Come on, let's go. Any question. Well, I say any question, but it has to be related to information security as it relates to our kids. If you don't bring a question after 90 seconds or so, I would be forced to just deal with whatever is trending in our time, okay? Just to keep this thing going. I'm not going anywhere soon. I dedicate an hour to meet with you every last Saturday of the month, giving you an opportunity to present your questions. Absolutely important that we do this and do it well, okay, for the benefit of our kids. So I'm not going anywhere soon. Thank you very much, Zachary. You saved us, okay? Are there any disadvantages to having the read receipts off? Read receipts off. Yes, there are. And I hope that wasn't a trick question. There are obvious disadvantages, okay? As I said, if you've deliberately read a message, there is no harm in allowing the sender of that message to know you've read it. It's courtesy, okay? And so that's why I said it was not for everyone. It's a brilliant question, Zachary. I said it was this whole turning off read receipts is not for everyone, okay? I'm just saying that there's some people who generally would rather be off the grid, off the internet if they could help it. But in our world today, you can't. And for such people, they don't want to leave any audit trail. They don't want anything associated with giving the rogue an open goal. So they would turn off everything that they can turn off, and they would embrace the turning off of send receipts. So the disadvantage of turning it off would mean that if you actually did read the message and you've consumed the content, the sender will not be aware that the message has been read. That's why I said it's not for all. If it's not your thing and you want people to know, just know that there's a danger that if you scroll through some messages and inadvertently click a message that you have not really read or consumed, if you have that setting turned on, the sender would receive a message stating that you've read the message. And so you're now duty bound based on that alert to respond to his messages in a timely fashion, okay? I don't know whether I've answered that question for you, but I think I have, and it should help you. So there are disadvantages, and it's just that one that I've mentioned, okay? Zach again saves us, adults, or rather bigger adults, parents, guardians, come on, all right? So Zachary asks, and let me put his second question on the screen. He asks, see if I can format it properly. I think this is better. Okay. So Zachary asks, in terms of, I'll just put it back on, please forgive me. Come on. It says, in terms of safety, children can be exposed to things, images, media, voice, can't see that, etc., that can be harmful and might not be able to show their parents. Okay, so Zachary is qualifying his question. Let me see if I can get it. So is it, I'm not quite sure whether this is a question. Is it a related question? Is it a new question? Zachary, give me a thumbs up if it's a new question. So you're saying in terms of safety, children can be exposed to things that can be harmful and might not be able to show their parents immediately. So I'm not quite sure whether the question is related to send receipts or whether it's just a singular question. Please clarify that and I'll answer it accordingly. But it doesn't tie in. Send receipts. Yeah. Help me, okay? Just explaining the previous question. Okay, so he's just explaining the previous question. Oh. If I understand the question, Zachary, and we've had this discussion about trust and transparency in the home when it comes to engaging online, okay? That relationship has to be healthy. And so a healthy relationship with internet activity would mean that if you or a sibling tells mom or dad that you've seen, that you've inadvertently read a message that contained illicit content, mom and dad should take your word for it. But for mom and dad who have probably been influenced by historical things that have happened in the past, you might need to prove to them, because it's a journey, it's an absolute journey, and it is not OTT for a parent to ask for confirmation that you didn't read it. Then I can see where you're going with the send receipt thing, because there'll be no proof to show that you read it or not. And I just hope I'm getting my head around that question. But ultimately, the send receipt turning off will suit some and not suit others, okay? If you turn it off, you're basically at peace with the fact that when you read messages that have come in, whether they have illicit content or not, the recipient, rather the sender, will not know that you've read it. And I think I'm the turning off recommendation of read receipts from the clinic standpoint is mostly to prevent others knowing that you've read their messages, okay? And not necessarily the content of the messages. I think it's messages as a whole. But he's giving me a thumbs up, so I think I have addressed it. Thank you, Zachary. Good question. All right. Now, Sunday, God bless you. I love and I treasure your support. Thank you for your company today. You are asking, okay, he's just highlighting that he will love a video that will explain the SMS and text message privacy on Android phones. Okay, so I've got 2 there. It's not like we're so many in the community. I think if I get a third, then I'm definitely going to either create a video or send links to how to do it. But I'll certainly do something about it. Okay, good stuff. You guys are doing well. We have a few more minutes, so I'll wait for 60 seconds this time, and then I'll go into some trending stuff. Okay. And there was silence. Honestly, I really trust that you guys are doing well. I want you guys to know that your company today it means the world. It can be frustrating if you do these live Q&As and people don't attend. So I have to acknowledge those who are here. You make this happen. You make it all work. And any time invested in skilling up or knowing these little things. And amazingly, the vendors are doing so much work behind the scenes to get us protected, but if you don't have me or people letting you know that these things exist, then really it's a waste. And I'm learning every day. And mostly I do that because I want to be able to give you as much. The more I know, the more valuable I believe I'll be to you guys and gals. Okay, so I absolutely welcome you to today's live Q&A. Okay, no questions. Okay, so let's look at what's out there. Needless to say, some of us have heard already that after months, actually years, when Microsoft informed us that Microsoft Windows 10 was going to be the last operating system for workstations and laptops, tablets, etc. They announced on, I think it was on the 14th or so, or thereabout, that they're coming up with another upgrade, Windows 11. And it is coming. We understand it's about 2 months away, but it's certainly in what they call alpha and beta. They just have different developments to allow certain people to use it, work on it, and discover bugs or not, and just make it as beautiful as possible, so that at release date, which would be in a few months' time, lots of the bugs would have been dealt with, and you have an OS that's clean and ready to go. But it's coming, which will mean, this is why I mentioned it, would mean that we'll have to, and it's a free upgrade, so we will have to update. And the warning that the clinic will give is the same way we urged people to move from Windows 7 and the older versions to Windows 10. We understood at the time that there will be hardware, laptops that may not be able to install Windows 10. From what I've heard about the technology, there may be some laptops that may not be able to install Windows 7. You will need to upgrade your hardware. And so there will be a financial hit there. But more importantly, if your system does allow the upgrade, then the clinic, as usual, will recommend that you do it. And so further on, we'll be making that assessment and giving advice accordingly as we learn the positives and the negatives of this new operating system. But it's coming. As I said, it's trending, so I thought I'll let the community know. Believe it or not, I only heard it 2 weeks ago. But I'm sure those who have been, waiting for some sort of announcement or upgrade from Microsoft have known for longer. But at least in the community, we are aware that Windows 11 is coming. Our general advice is that when software updates are available for updating your system, do not ignore them. And the reason why it's important is because your vendor, Apple or Microsoft, have discovered bugs, security bugs, and are offering you a fix or something to close the vulnerability. And so installing the updates is for your own good. Granted, doing it too quickly may also expose us to bugs associated with things done in a hurry, but the incidence of that is quite low. So for me, worst case scenario, I update it and a bug is found because I've updated, you will be able to roll back. And we're here to assist you because I'm recommending it. I will certainly help you, do a rollback of sorts, because they will always offer a rollback if an upgrade or an update has gone terribly wrong. And I will walk you through doing that. So updates for operating systems, important. Update. Schedule it if you don't want to update it during the day. Schedule it to happen in the night and let it reboot until you come back to a hardened system. Okay? And that also applies to our tablets, watches, everything is so technological. Your watches, your smartphones, everything that has a computer or some sort of technology requires updates because bugs are found, and you must apply those updates in a timely fashion, okay? Without fail. All right? Still no questions. Guys, you're hurting my feelings. Huh? You're hurting my feelings. I still have other things that I can share, but I'm here for you. It's good when you don't have questions, which means you understand all the stuff that I've said, all the stuff that's out there that you're exposed to, And remember, I mentioned that on this platform, in this community, we eat a lot of humble pie. There's nothing, you can't come to this platform and say you're proud. You don't want people to know how immature or naive you are. Hence, you keep your questions to yourself. Granted, some of us are shy. If you're shy, you can send me an email. I also want a situation where we can, I can have collabs. By collabs, I mean I can collaborate with people who are doing other things that I believe will be a blessing to the community around technology. So I'm open to collaboration requests from platforms that are into the family. Okay, I'll bring you on here and we can have an interview, we can have a discussion that will benefit the community. Okay, I'm entertaining such requests. Send those requests in if you want to be on the show and you want to be live and you want to speak to families based on your experience. Basically, I want people who are bold to tell their story, how either connected to this platform you've been able to train your kids, or you've been able to advise kids of your friends and all that on how they should engage online. Everything I tell you here, I expect you to tell your loved ones. I say that at the end of the show each time. Tell your loved ones. Not telling them is selfish because you've gained all this information. And needless to say, some of your children will go to those houses. And if they go there and your friends are not aware, all the hard work that you've done in your home gets destroyed because you kept this information from your friends. So tell your friends. Also, needless to say, subscribe to the platform so that YouTube and Facebook will push this content to others. As you can see, we're getting comments from Facebook and we're getting comments from YouTube, and that for me is win-win. We cater for the needs of those that are connected to this community. Okay, we're at the business end. We have 10 minutes left, and I'm still hoping to see one question before I continue blabbing. Well, we'll just go straight into it. Scams. If this channel was just dedicated to scams, honestly, I have enough content to do this for a year. The scams are evolving. The scams are evolving, okay? And so I may tell you one thing today on how to do stuff to prevent text scams, email scams, or scams in general. I give advice on what you need to do on your phone, what you need to do on your email and all that. But these guys, the thieves, the rogue, they're evolving. And so as we're getting smarter, they are upping their game. Thankfully, at times I give us, foundational things to do that will protect you regardless of that evolution. Okay? And I pride myself in making sure I find those sort of remedies, because it's important that we are not exhausted chasing after these guys who are just out to outwit us, and importantly, to outwit our young ones. And so our patience is key. We need to keep fighting. We need to keep learning so that these guys don't outwit us and, get into our families. Get to our young ones, I should say. I've shared enough content about how these rogues are changing their tactics. They are going to the weakest link in the family. And by that, I mean, it could simply be that you've updated something as simple as updating all the phones in the house with the up-to-date updates from the vendor, but you've left out one phone. And that's the phone that belongs to your kid. That's a weak link. And through that phone, the rogue can come in and affect, because all they want is a door into your network. And once they can find that door, they can cause havoc. So anything you roll out onto your phones, your husband and your wife's phones, make sure you're extending it, rolling it out onto the family computers and the individual laptops that, as we know, our kids have these days, okay? So make sure we are updating. Don't allow them onto your network if they have outstanding updates. At times, our kids will bring their laptops from school of all places, where you expect that security is high on the agenda. And they're trying to connect to your own network when they come home, and yet they have outstanding updates. They have out-of-date operating systems. Those are not things we can assume. Your network now is your paradise. Everything happening in your home is you. So you need to tighten your network, your home network, and make sure that you're putting pressure on your young one to tell their IT in school. My mom and my dad will not allow me connect this system to our internet because the system is old, or the system has old versions of software. So you're putting pressure on the company or the school to do their bit, and that should be zero tolerance in that arena. As I said, the rogue is looking for holes, and we don't want to give them those holes. So be as stern and as firm as possible. And that some people come from outside to visit you. Please, can I have your Wi-Fi password? To do what, please? Is my question. First and foremost, what do you want to do? And most times they want to play. They want to do games, or, that's a waste, because I don't know anything about your phone. Of course, at times your hands are forced because you don't want to be too out of sync, too outmodish. But honestly, going forward, myself included, if you want to be on my internet, I'll need to know that you are, healthy. And you're part of this community where I advise you on how to keep your things safe and sweet. And so don't just allow people connect onto your network when you don't know anything about their phones, because they could be bringing bugs, into your system or into your home network. That should be an eye-opener for some of us. Yeah. Can I have your Wi-Fi password? All the kids will come to it. Please, they come visiting. And then usually a visit is supposed to be, let's just play a game, let's have fun. And then, can I have your Wi-Fi password? And then they'll go and hide and be playing games. One, it's antisocial. Apart from the issue of the network security, it's antisocial. If you come out to visit. Don't be on your phone. We are so against all that stuff where kids are isolating themselves when they go out of the house. They carry on from where they started on their phone. Not a good thing. So apart from the antisocial bits, or rather apart from the the internet security or the phone security, the antisocial element cannot be ignored. All right. Esther has asked a question. How do you handle that? I mean, sharing your network password. So it must happen to you quite a lot. And honestly, it's not a shameful thing. It happens to all of us. I'm saying now, because it's a hole. It's a security hole. So some of you may not have heard this, and some of you have been doing this for years. But seriously, so if someone comes, they will come to you. First of all, you must have a password. Your admin password has to have changed. Okay? Some of us just leave it. There's a card at the back of your router, your internet router, that has the Wi-Fi details. You've not changed it. You've never logged in to the console to change the password. That's a big no-no. And we have videos. When you look on replay, I'll put a link to the video. You must change the default passwords of all your devices. Change them. Some of them are admin 1234. That's a password that anyone can guess. But on internet routers, you have it on the back of the internet router. Some of us just give the card to anybody to log on. As I said, it's hospitable to allow your visitors to have access to the internet, but you must put up a little fight. Why do you need it? Is a beautiful question to ask. Because if they say they're going to come, they just want to log on and play games, you came to visit us. That's antisocial. But if they want it so that they can play the PS4 or PS5 for some, and have a family gathering or gaming session, then that's okay. But if you're taking the password just to do stuff, it is antisocial to say you want to do games. And I also believe that the next step, which is the bit I'm flagging, is that you do not just give it willy-nilly. You must ask the question. Don't forget that some people come to your house with out-of-date phones, phones that don't have up-to-date patches on their internet browsers, for example. And for those people, if you allow them in, especially on a home network, you could be exposing your home network to the filth that's allowed in through their phone. And they may not even know because they're not as diligent as you, a member of this community. Okay? So first, tell them to join the community so that they can skill up, parents that is, and then ask the question. So it's like a deterrent, just a little bump before. And usually, 9 times out of 10, the kids want to join the network to do antisocial stuff. And that we frown at, okay? We're there. We have 2 minutes, and we're going to try and bring this to a close. Esther, thank you so much. I have enjoyed your company. Thank you for saving the mummies and daddies who have stayed cryptic. But I've enjoyed your questions. Needless to say, I've enjoyed Zach's questions too. So we never end our broadcast without giving many of you an opportunity to be a part of this community. And if you're not already a part of this community, I will urge you to subscribe to this channel. Make sure you're clicking the bell so that when I send alerts like I did this morning to you saying live, we're live, you'll get alerted and you'll be on the broadcast accordingly. Okay. Also share the content with your friends and family. For me, it's important that you support this community. Support it in any way you can. And you do that by subscribing, liking the content if it's beneficial to you, and sharing it with your friends and family. Zachary has asked one last question. What if they don't have 4G? Well, they don't have 4G. If they don't have 4G and they're coming to visit you, then they should stay visiting. No internet. That may be rough coming from me. But yeah, if you came to visit, you came to visit. Most uncles and aunties will say, come, I'll give you the password. You want password? What else do you want? You want a cuddle? No. With the internet rubbish that's out there, you must ask the question. That question asking is a deterrent. If someone comes and says, I just want to check my email. Okay, you don't have 4G? Gladly. And I hope thoroughly that you are, and I know you, so I know you're truthful. But if they don't have 4G, then they don't have 4G. Don't let that change your approach, is simply what I'm saying. Okay? We're there. It's been lovely having you on board. As I said, please share this content with your friends and family. You can still send questions once this video is finished, or rather once the broadcast is finished. You have opportunities to still comment and ask questions, and I'll be more than happy to continue answering. Okay? I've loved every bit of it. I pray that you remain safe, you and your kids, as you surf and engage on the internet. I've been your host, Lawrence Edem. Until next week when we release another video, God bless and goodbye.